Friday. Finally made it to the end of this week. I'm finally back doing shows. It is June 21st. 14 game slate ahead of us. At the very least, looks like 13 games are going to be perfectly fine. A little weather up in the air in the Cards game, but I think that we'll probably end up okay. We'll see. Adam, how'd your Wednesday end up?
I think it went okay.
I mean Thursday.
Yeah, you meant Thursday. I think it went okay. I don't know. I went out and I don't actually remember if I checked the scores at the end of the night.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I have some stuff pulled up from yesterday's slate.
I hope you told me I won 50K because it's possible.
You didn't, unless you have a new screen name. By any chance, are you Larry-Otto or Big T44?
Those are both my accounts.
Yeah, I thought so. Oh, well, then you won $100,000.
Oh,
50 in two separate tournaments. I was taking a look at the relay throw. That's the $15 150 max on DK. Sort of the best. I think the best 150 max to take a peek at. Sorted it down. Yankees 5-man. Very, very popular if you wanted to make some money last night. Surprise, surprise. That was the prevailing stack in the top 10 of the tournament. 5-man Yankee stack in first, second, third, fifth, sixth, ninth, and 10th.
Yeah, I do remember that all of my best lineups, because I did have some good lineups last night that had a chance but didn't quite get there, and they were all my Yankee stacks.
Yeah, it's basically just straight Yankees. You could get lucky enough to have some Dodgers in there, but if you didn't have the Yankees, you weren't coming anywhere near the top of this contest. 3 separate pitching combinations in first, second, and third. Gallen from the Marlins at 7,300 was in all 3, but one had Roark, one had Montas, one had Bundy. You're getting very different builds, but ultimately Yankees were the piece that you needed more than anything.
Did any of them have the Cubs guy?
I'm going to need you to be more specific than that.
Oh yeah, sorry for you to play Alzolay.
Is that a pitcher or a hitter?
Oh yeah, so
I have no idea what happened yesterday. I was completely away from the computer from the start of the day till the end of the day.
Okay, so Tyler Chatwood was the starter, and everyone knew that he wasn't going to go super deep. But I don't know. So the Cubs had announced the night before that they were calling up this prospect from AAA,
Okay.
and then at 6 o'clock they're like, "Oh yeah, he'll pitch today." And so I don't know. I scrambled and got him in 30% of my lineups. He was 6,200 on DraftKings. He was 2% owned.
Yep.
He pitched really well, but it didn't really matter because Wade LeBlanc was great and every other popular pitcher was great.
So Wade LeBlanc, obviously, as I mentioned at the start, not in one of the top 3 lineups, even though he did pitch well. High projection somewhere in the industry.
I think he was the highest scoring pitcher on the slate.
28-6. No, Montas, 31-6.
Oh, cool. I said I liked him a lot. I didn't really play him much, but I did like him.
Okay. Alzolay made it into the 8th place lineup, combined with Frankie Montas. So shout out to Brick75, friend of the program, sneaking his way into the top 10 with the 2.4% owned Alzolay of the Cubs.
I wonder what percent of the Alzolay lineups were people in our Slack chat, because it has to be high.
I think that we can largely figure that out. Let me see if I can filter this down.
I know Alex tweeted that out on his weather page too. He was a good play.
Alrighty. Trying to see. There's some. I'll just work my way down the list. So the people that had him in the first pitcher spot, I don't necessarily know if this works out the way that I want it to, but I can do this in 2 separate steps and get there. Brick75, ship my money. Tom JK, ship my money. Tom JK, Brick, Tom JK. This is all in the top 200 or so. I'm sure I'm not recognizing. I slew foot you. Not sure. Let's see who else we've got.
I know who he is, but I don't think he's in our Slack.
Okay. It's a lot of you. It's a lot of Tom. It's a lot of Brick. Let's see if it's in the second pitcher spot. I don't know if it filters that way or not. I'll have to ask Dave. I don't know if location in this filter matters for pitchers. Deselect all. Yeah, it does matter. Okay. More of I slew foot you, a little bit more ship my money, a little bit more Tom JK 321. So at least some people at the top of the Osmo. No sign of Alex though, which I think is interesting. Didn't make that move. Not showing
What'd
up
you
at
say?
all. No Osmo.
Ah, that's surprising.
Yeah,
Because I know he like knew about it and was on him.
sure. I would hope that he did.
Well, no, I mean like I happened to see his tweet from like the weather account that was like, all the weather today is good. Also, play this guy.
Let me see if he had any at all. He did. Okay, so he had 2, 3, 4, 9 shares, but nothing with him finished in like the top couple thousand. So
Yeah.
I had everything sorted by points. Interesting though. Very interesting to
He
see.
ended up being kind of useless, but it was still a really good play.
Let's see if there's. Yeah, you had him quite a bit. That's for sure.
He was my highest owned pitcher.
That's good.
I mean,
it's good that I don't have to add that up.
I spread out my pitching exposure a ton yesterday, so by highest owned, I mean I had him in 30% of my lineups. But
Let's see. C Domo 6 had one. So that's Chris Randone. DJ Colt got 2 of them in here. Their names I recognize as I scroll down. Sean's on with a bunch. A lot coming from Tom. So it looks like you and Tom are in the same sort of boat here. Let me see. Let me grab Tom and see who had more, you or him. And then we'll get started. All right. So there's Tom. And obviously this is just for this contest. You could have had him in, more in something else. But let's see. Add. Where's he hiding? You had 30% Tom coming in like a fish at 28%. So, well played. Well played, Adam. Well played.
Got to get the edge on the bosses.
Mm-hmm. What was that Tom guy? He couldn't even get up to 30% on a guy whose name is not Albert. It is Adbert.
And who was not even guaranteed the pitch.
Right. Kudos to both of you guys. The guy that won the tournament did not have a single share of him. He was owned in 468 unique lineups had him.
All right, so 50 of those were mine.
Right. Actually, that's one last thing we could look at. Let me filter this player list. Good name. Alzo. No.
Advert. Oh.
A lot of these letters just don't go together.
Right. Yeah, no, I had to type it like 3 different times when I was trying to... Because like I didn't realize until like 6:45 yesterday that he was coming in. So then I had to redo all my stuff and type that name a bunch of different times.
6,200, 19.2 fantasy points, 468 out of 19,263 entries. There you go. A lot of them coming in for you too.
Failed.
What'd you say?
He would have been a lot more useful if Wade LeBlanc had failed.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's get into the good stuff. Let's start with the plugs. MLB Strategy is the promo code, 50% off your first month with us. Any monthly package you choose, including packages with Fantasy Cruncher. If you want to come and check out all of our content, whether that's baseball, WNBA, tennis, golf, NASCAR, MMA, CFL. I'm sure I'm missing something. We've got it all. Come sign up. Check out an all-access package. You get 50% off the first month, and you can check out every one of those sports if you're looking to broaden your DFS horizons. And then, as per usual, we are brought to you by Yahoo Sports. We'll be doing the Yahoo-specific strategy show today at 1 o'clock. We've got the boss man back. We've got Jake Hari back. So it's going to be business as usual. Shout out to EMAC for filling in last week. I'm dropping the link into chat right now. That is EMAC's Yahoo-specific article. If you want to check out EMAC's picks for Yahoo today, click on the link that I just dropped into chat. There's a link in that article if you want to sign up at Yahoo. That helps us out tremendously. Doesn't have to affect anything for you guys. But you could use the promo code AWESOMO at Yahoo and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Today we'll take a look at pitching for Yahoo, and then Alex and Jake and I will probably build a GPP lineup and then build what we think is the optimal cash lineup. So tune into that today. 14 games. You ready, man?
Yeah, let's go.
All righty, here we go. First game up on the docket. The Philadelphia Phillies hosting The Miami Marlins, 5-run implied total for the Phils, 3.4 for the Marlins, 67% chance to win for Philadelphia. Aaron Nola going for the Phillies. Sandy Alcantara going for the Marlins. Had to really enunciate those. No love going to old Sandy here. That's not terribly surprising. Aaron Nola, though, 37% ownership on Yahoo, 27 on FanDuel, which is the chalk number, just FYI. And buckle up, 49% ownership at 8K on DraftKings. Yes, that is right. 49%, the highest number on the slate. Talk to me about Aaron Nola here against the Marlins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that he's super popular, but you can't really get around it. He hasn't been as good this year as previous years, but he's still good, and he still has the track record of being a really good pitcher. You're facing one of the worst lineups in baseball, plenty of strikeouts, a lot of right-handed bats. The park is good for home run power, but there's not a lot of it in the Miami lineup. So it's a spot where I expect I'll get a lot of ownership, and I'll just be different elsewhere.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's pretty clearly the first player you click on in a cash lineup, even more so because, however you feel about, let's say, Sale or Bauer, you are at least flipping a coin between the two. Nola is just on his own island, so I can't imagine starting a cash lineup with anything other than Aaron Nola.
Yeah, I mean, even like a lot of his underlying numbers aren't great this year. His PCRA is 4.03. His walk percentage is up at 10%, but that's all factored into this price tag, because if he were having his normal season and was facing the Marlins, he'd be 10K.
Yeah, he's been really unlucky. Well, maybe not. Maybe unlucky is not the right word for it, but been a little homer happy, putting a couple more people on via the walk than you would really be happy about. But he's been unlucky from a BABIP perspective. Still has a 391 xFIP. I know you've referenced PCRA, but it's not like he's been atrocious. He's still striking out 25% of the batters that he faces. And when push comes to shove at 8K, this is a much better spot than you need it to be. The Marlins are
a lot
bad.
more upside than downside.
Right. It's not like they're a big strikeout team, but if you're getting Nola at 8K, you're not really super worried about having a great strikeout matchup. The fact that you're facing the Marlins is really all that you need.
He is in one of the best strikeout parks, too.
He is. I don't have any hot takes for it. I expect to have him in a similar amount to the field.
Yep.
50% on DK, and I don't really see that number changing all that much either. I can't imagine.
I don't think it's wrong.
No, not at all. It'll obviously be lower in low dollar tournaments, probably a lot higher in high dollar tournaments, but yeah, 50% feels about right. Any Sandy for you?
No, it just seems completely unnecessary on the slate.
Yeah, agreed. How do you feel about Phillies bats not really getting all that much ownership? Doesn't shock me too much. It's not like Sandy's a total gas can. I'm just going with Sandy now, so I don't have to get yelled at about the pronunciation of his last name. Bryce Harper leading off?
Yeah, led off yesterday.
Okay.
Didn't really change anything. He still wasn't very good. Yeah, I mean, on DraftKings, the Phillies prices are still really appealing. They are really similar to what they were yesterday. Harper's still at 44, Hoskins at 46, Bruce at 47, so that's down a little bit. You get a underpriced Real Muto, probably batting cleanup at catcher. Yeah. So, yeah, I will get to the Phillies just because of their price tags. I don't expect to have close to 50% ownership of several Phillies like I did yesterday, but I'm sure I'll still get there a lot.
They are my number 8 stack overall on DK, 5th relative to salary. They're 6th and 6th on FanDuel, so I fully expect to have a pretty solid amount of Phillies. They're not really getting all that much love as of right now. If I take a look at their overall exposure, Phillies coming in, this is both FanDuel and DK combined, coming in 10th. So I expect to be over that number for the Phillies. Just a really great park, and if this total stays at 5 runs or even goes a little bit higher, there are home runs to be had here. I don't really love the shape of this lineup, but I guess it's going to have to work. It just feels really weird to have Harper and Hoskins 1-2, and then Gene Segura hitting 5th.
Yeah,
but I can't get too upset about it.
Yeah, and I mean it's worth, I guess, pointing out like yesterday, Harper was really popular, Hoskins was really popular, Bruce was semi-popular, but then you had Segura at like 6% because he's not at the top of the order.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 4K, projected for 4% ownership. It makes me like Segura more in a weird way because he's not being owned, but kind of makes for a weird shape. Either way, I'm still getting the Phillies.
Yeah,
Any Marlins
still,
for you?
not planning on it. I mean, 14 games, so leveraging against a pitcher isn't quite as useful for me. It is a park that plays up power, but Nola's good, and the
Right.
Marlins are not.
And you don't really need to get on the other side of Nola's 50% ownership. If you don't like that ownership, you're better off just not having Nola. You don't need both things to happen. Him to get completely bombed to make the Marlins one of the top 3 stacks. Like that, you don't need both of those things to happen. You could just be somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Because for one, there's so many pitchers, you can just play someone that scores more points than Nola.
Right.
But at his price tag, it'd be one thing, if Nola were like 50% owned at 10K and a couple of home runs like ruined his day.
Right.
But at $8,000, that doesn't happen. If he gives up 3 solo shots and strikes out 10 guys, he's still a good play at 8K.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't mean that you need the Marlins in any way, shape, or form.
Right, exactly. Like in that situation, Nola's still a good play. The Marlins as a stack still suck. And you're just left sitting there with a bunch of Miami saying, like, why do I have this?
Yeah, I can't imagine getting to Miami outside of, if I get a Granderson one-off, great.
Yeah, same with Brian Anderson.
It's not a floater from yesterday, is it? I think I saw a solo cup.
Yeah, it's water.
It's water?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure it wasn't like a stray from yesterday.
No. I have coffee mugs and wine glasses, but I don't have like actual glasses in the apartment yet.
Fair enough. Priorities, man. Priorities. Who needs water? Who needs water? Yeah. All right, let's move on. Yankees hosting the Astros. 5.1 run implied total for the Yankees. 4.3 for the Stros. 58% chance to win for New York. James Paxton going for the Yankees. Brad Peacock going for Houston. This is a sneaky, interesting pitching matchup, but Peacock is going completely unowned. Let's call it 0 straight across the board. Paxton 3% on Yahoo, 2% on FanDuel, 15% on DraftKings at 8,100. I mean, he's the natural, I guess, pivot to Aaron Nola since they're separated by $100, but I don't even think they're comparable in terms of their status for today. I don't really see the appeal in Paxton, especially if he's going to be the guy that seems to be getting picked out of this group. What do you want to do with Paxton here?
Want to roster him a good amount.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's just really underpriced. I mean, the guy's striking out 30. He has the third highest strikeout percentage on the slate at 30.5% behind Sale and Boyd, who are both, I think, Boyd like 9,700 and Sale's over 11.
Yeah.
So you're getting a discount there in terms of strikeout upside. The Astros obviously aren't a great matchup for that, but Paxton's just a really, really good pitcher that should never be $8,100.
I don't really disagree, but the Astros are really changing this for me. There's a lot of interesting bats at the top. You've got Altuve back in the lineup. Yordan Alvarez has, helped to solidify the center of the lineup. I don't get the sense that I'm going to be going to Paxton. I'd be just as likely to go to the debuting Dallas Keuchel or Griffin Canning or Mike Leake. I know I'm paying up, but none of those guys are not getting a single whiff of ownership. I don't get the sense that I'll have Paxton. He's usually a guy I have more often than not. Do you think you'll get the Peacock?
I don't know if I'll get there, but I kind of like the idea with how much ownership we have projected to go to Nola and Paxton in that price range.
Yeah.
The Yankees are obviously a really dangerous lineup, but they do have 7 righties in their projected lineup. And against right-handed bats this year, Peacock has struck out 28.8%. He's allowed a 216 WOBA and a .099 ISO. He's been really bad against lefties, which is a trend that we've seen for years now, but just absolutely lights out against righties. Nowhere near as good a pitcher as Paxton, not as good a pitcher as Nola, but with no ownership, I think the idea is interesting. It's just I don't know if I'll end up actually getting there.
Yeah, I think in a weird way, I prefer Peacock to Paxton just because of the ownership and sort of the way that the shape of this game sets up with all of those, righty strikeout machines going 2, 3, 4, 5. Now Now, I'm not advocating to get 25% Brad Peacock or something, especially if he's 1% owned. But you can get like 7-8% and feel pretty good about it, especially if you want to try to get off of Nola and 50%.
Yeah. Not to mention, there's another ace at 7,800 on DraftKings.
Oh, here we go. Wait, 7,900?
Yeah,
that'll be fun to talk about.
You know who it is.
Well, yeah, I know who it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not right, but it's well, it'll be right to you.
Yeah. We
all have our guys. I mean, you're more right in this one than I'm ever in situations where I'm like, oh, you can get Rick Porcello today. It's very different plays. Let's talk about Yankees bats here. I know that we just kind of said, Peacock's kind of interesting. I have the Yankees as my number one stack on FanDuel and DK. Relative to salary, they're either first or second. There's just so much game-changing power here. The lowest steamer ISO in everybody in this lineup is the leadoff hitter, DJ LeMahieu. Everybody else is at like 200, or you get Stanton in the 300s. What do you want to do with the Yankees bats?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's correct. Like, there's a ton of power here, but I kind of doubt that I get to a lot just because Peacock is really like a shutdown pitcher against righties, and that's all that we have here. The price tag on Stanton on DraftKings is really cheap for the amount of power he has. I hate the matchup for him, but 4,300 for Stanton is always in play.
Yeah, I'm going to end up with a bit of the Yankees here. They're unowned. Highest ownership number on the entire slate for anybody, all three sites, is Gregorius at 12. It's 6% on FanDuel. It's 4% on DK. There's nobody here because of how expensive they are, but which is kind of crazy to me. I mean, ignoring Stanton, I guess. We know we have Nola at 8K. Joe Musgrove is 5,500 and getting 25% of the ownership. It's not as if there aren't options out there to be able to pay up for expensive hitters. I'm going to have my fair share of Yankees if they're completely ignored.
Yeah, that's fair. And I do think that, so hopefully, and it probably won't happen because everyone at the top is so good, but it would be nice if Hicks or Gregorius got like a lineup boost, because the lefties are who I want, and they are both really affordable.
Yeah, it feels like you should have one of those two guys in that LeMahieu spot. And LeMahieu should be further down the order.
Yeah.
Let's talk Astros, though. Paxton, the lefty. Astros not getting any real ownership outside of Bregman and Altuve. That shouldn't be shocking either. They're basically unowned on FanDuel. Do you see yourself getting to any Astros stacks, big Astros stacks against Paxton?
Probably not. I mean, Paxton's really good. There's 30 teams or 28 teams playing.
Yeah.
The price tag on Altuve on DraftKings is still broken.
Yep.
I still have no idea why it's there. But, outside of that being a good point per dollar play and Bregman being really good, I don't have a lot of interest in Houston here. Yeah,
I don't get the sense that I'll get a ton. I probably end up over the field in the aggregate. I'm not going to go over on Bregman and Altuve. Those are the guys that are getting love, but this is clearly a lefty-lefty spot. So Brantley and Alvarez are being completely ignored. Gurriel ignored. Josh Reddick, lefty-lefty, being ignored. If Tyler White is in the lineup, he's at the bottom at 3,100. It's an interesting price if you're just trying to make a bet on power-ish. It's a great park for it. I like getting to a few five-man stacks on DK if Paxton does get that ownership, but it's not as if they're going to be like a high-owned stack for me.
Right.
Sometimes I just got to bet a little bit on maybe Paxton goes and dies out there. One can hope. To the Nats we go. 4.8 run implied total for the Nationals, 4.1 for the Braves, 58% chance to win for Washington. Steven Strasburg going for the Nats. Dallas Keuchel back to the majors, going for the Braves. Strasburg, 13% ownership on Yahoo, 6 on FanDuel, 7 on DK. Keuchel, completely unowned. What do you want to do with Strasburg first and foremost?
It's just not a slate that I want to get that cute at pitcher, especially at the top end. I mean, I think Strasburg's really good. He's having a great year. A lot of underlying stats back that up, but he's facing the Braves, whereas Trevor Bauer, who we'll talk about, obviously is facing the Tigers. It's at a similar price point. Sale's facing the Blue Jays. It's just nowhere near as good a matchup as those guys have. And in the case of Sale, he's not even as good as him. In the case of Bauer, he's been better, but just doesn't really feel like a spot that you need to get that cute. I'm not looking to take hitters against Strasburg. all that much, although there are some appealing price tags on DraftKings, but just not a spot that I think I'll really get to.
Yeah, I'm in the same sort of boat. Like we said, he's projected for 7% ownership. I figure I'm in and around that number, 4, 5, 6. He's going to show up in a couple lineups out of 150, but he is certainly not going to be a guy that gets a lot of bulk from me. What about Keuchel?
No. I was really enjoying him not being in the major leagues because I never roster him, and he always projects well because like his median projections are good, but he doesn't strike guys out, and he's one of my least favorite DFS pitchers ever out of like actual good major league pitchers. So not excited that he's back and not rostering him today.
Yeah, I don't get the sense that I'm going to be having much Dallas Keuchel here either. 8,300. Look, he's at 1% owned. He's completely ignored. Do I think that I end up with 1% of Dallas Keuchel today? Yeah, probably. But you can't even compare him to Paxton and Nola.
Or Gray.
You can't even compare him to Paxton or Nola. Let's talk about hitting. Nats not really getting all that much love unless you want to play Yan Gomes, who's projected for 23% ownership as a $2,600 DK catcher. There's your cash catcher. Doesn't appear there's going to be a lot of stacking going on either side of this game. Will you be on it?
No, it's kind of a stay away game for me. Like I have respect for Keuchel. The Nats have good hitters. If it were a smaller slate, I could see getting there, but there's a lot of other spots to get to.
I would have been more likely to get to Braves, honestly, which is something I don't say all that often. And, Acuna still looks really good. Freddie Freeman looks good. Josh Donaldson looks good. But Strasburg's really talented, and he's not getting enough ownership that I feel like I need to hedge off of it. So I'm guessing the Braves just kind of like float in the middle and have a little bit of ownership.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing else. Favorite bat in this game?
I mean, Gomes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. All right, keeping it moving. Pirates and Padres. Pirates, 4.5 run implied total. Padres, 4.3. 52% chance to win for Pittsburgh. Joe Musgrove going for the Pirates. Eric Lauer going for the Padres. Musgrove, 6% ownership on Yahoo, 2 on FanDuel, 25 on DK at 5,500. This is a fantastic strikeout matchup. They get the benefit of a ballpark that is very pitcher-friendly for right-handed power, which is generally how the Padres lean. I understand why Musgrove's getting that much ownership, but damn, is that scary. He has not been good.
No, especially in terms of strikeouts, but he is facing the Padres, a ton of righties in Pittsburgh, and he's priced like he's a terrible pitcher. Against righties this year, he struck out 22.6%, 14.1% of lefties. So a pretty big split there. He's allowed a 142 ISO to righties compared to 213 to lefties. 283 WOBA to righties, 358 to lefties. So we've seen pretty sizable splits, righties versus lefties for Musgrove, and you should get a lot of right-handed bats here for the Padres. And, they have power, but the park helps with that. Musgrove doesn't give up a lot of power to righties anyway, as I had just said, and they will strike out. So it's another spot where, I expect him to be really popular, and I think it's correct.
No ownership whatsoever going to the Padres on DraftKings. I will certainly have a few full 5-man stacks just because of Musgrove's ownership. But I agree with the Musgrove ownership more than I agree with trying to get to the Padres because they just don't set up well in this spot.
Yeah.
You need a lot to go right.
Cheap for his power, but
yep. Yeah.
I don't expect to get a lot.
I don't mind Hosmer at 44. I'll roster Manny Machado pretty much whenever because he's Manny Machado. Especially with the dual eligibility. I only want it for a hedge, though.
Actually, and that's worth pointing out, too. Like, Machado could be suspended.
True.
And that would make Musgrove even better.
That's absolutely true.
That's one of the low strikeout bats in the lineup.
Yeah, and the best bat in the lineup for sure, as from like a talent perspective. No?
No, I mean, I agree. I don't want to. Like, Renfroe and Reyes are really good.
I mean, as like a general hitter, not necessarily as a DFS hitter, but I would say Machado is like the best baseball player.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Weird game. Any Pirates bats against Eric Lauer? Because I don't think a single bat looks good.
No, I mean, you have Marte priced back up. You have Bell priced back up. Jung Ho Gong is 3,200 on DraftKings.
Yeah.
He's, I'm assuming, cheap on every site.
2,200 on FanDuel, $7 on Yahoo.
Yeah, so I mean, he's certainly in play as a value guy, but no, not really. I mean, I think if you wanted, like, if you were dead set on getting a cheap pitcher that wasn't Joe Musgrove, like going to Lauer isn't the craziest thing. But again, I'm expecting to just get the Musgrove.
Lauer's good enough. I mean, is Lauer a better pitcher than Musgrove?
No.
I feel like you're writing that off a little quick.
I mean, I think Musgrove's actually a good pitcher.
Okay. Ultimately, it's not that exciting of a game.
Like, he hasn't been good this year, but I think he is better.
Okay, let's get out of this game here. Go to Boston. Lots to talk about here. Boston Red Sox facing the Blue Jays. 5.6 run implied total for the Sox. 2.9 for the Jays. It's a 77% chance to win for Boston, which I feel like might be the highest I've ever seen. Let me just double check what the line was when I entered it. Sale was minus 364. Blue Jays plus 325. That could have changed. Sale 42% ownership on Yahoo, 23% on FanDuel, 34% on DraftKings. He's $60 on FanDuel. He's $12K on FanDuel. He's $12K on DK. What do you want to do with Chris Sale? Who do you prefer, Chris Sale or Trevor Bauer?
I mean, I want to get to as much as I can. Toronto strikes out a lot. So far this season, their active roster has a 25.1% strikeout percentage against lefties. That's tied for 7th highest. They have an 89 WRC plus, 304 WOBA. Like, they have some right-handed power, but you're not really that concerned about that for Sale. He by far has the highest strikeout percentage on the slate at 35.7%. And that's including, his first 4 starts of the year where he was getting no swings and misses. He's just back to being an absolutely phenomenal pitcher, and I want to get as much Chris Sale as I can. And I don't think it'll be very difficult because you have $5,500 Joe Musgrove to pair him with.
Even pairing him with Nola is still like a lot of money, which is kind of crazy. I mean, it's not like a lot, but you don't normally get a Nola at 8K with 12K Chris Sale. I'm not entirely sure how I shake out between Sale and Bauer.
Like, you're spending 20K to get Sale plus Nola against the Blue Jays and the Marlins. That's normally not something that you're able to do.
No, that's usually going to cost a lot more. It's going to cost $2,000 more than that. In that situation, normally you would expect Nola to be 10K. You would expect Nola to be priced like Strasburg or Walker Buehler or at the worst, Matt Boyd.
Right. It's like a 22K combination.
Yep. So all over Sale. As of right now, it's kind of a coin flip for him and Bauer for me. I expect to have both of them in abundance. And I do not expect to have any Trent Thornton. Do you?
No.
Okay, good. Let's talk bats. Red Sox, pretty popular. They are the 4th highest team in aggregate ownership across FanDuel and DraftKings. They're my 3rd overall. They're not particularly easy to get to from a value perspective, but they certainly have as high of an upside today as anybody else on the slate. What do you want to do with the Sox?
I'm kind of torn on them because, like you said, they do have a ton of upside. That's always the case. But I expected they'll get, a good amount of ownership because they do have the high implied run total. Trent Thornton obviously isn't great, and he's been inconsistent, but he has been a lot better against righties than lefties. And most of the guys in this lineup that you would want to roster are right-handed. They're expensive. They're tough to stack because you have, Betts, Benintendi, and Martinez taking up all your outfield spots like immediately. I like them and I like the upside. It's just that I don't think it's not like a can't miss spot to me.
I agree. Especially because of how hard it is to roster these guys. Like, the clear talent is at the top, and at that point you've already filled all 3 of your outfield spots. And it's not like these guys are $3,700. I'm gonna have.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the way I see it is that obviously the upside is like you can't deny the upside, but you're kind of like going out of your way to stack this team, because of their pricing and their positions. So you're kind of going out of your way. They're popular, and then you finally get them in there, and most of these guys are facing a pitcher who in their split has allowed a 106 ISO.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Anybody that stands out for you from the Red Sox, independent of like full stacks?
Not really. I mean, the obvious Betts and Martinez are phenomenal hitters, but
Yeah.
like Devers would be the guy, but he's hurt.
Right. I expect to be similar to the ownership from the public, but it's going to be coming from the fact that I'll have more Brock Holt and Michael Chavis and Christian Vasquez than other people, and a similar amount to like Betts and JD.
I guess I'd actually say Bradley's probably my favorite play when you factor in price.
2% ownership on DK right now.
Wow, that's surprising. He's always over-owned.
Yeah, he is $20 on Yahoo.
Whew.
22 for JD, 21 for Mookie Betts, 20 for Jackie Bradley.
If I just like woke up after 10 years and heard that, it would be, oh yeah, Jackie Bradley panned out as I expected him to.
Yeah, I think somebody at Yahoo might have had a few too many cocktails for that one. Too much focus on the bean or on the best ball being available at Yahoo now.
There is a big Gamecocks fan setting pricing for the Red Sox.
Do you want to get to any Blue Jays bats against Sale? Because I think it's kind of a weird spot and interesting.
I mean, from a power upside or a power standpoint, you still have an underpriced Guerrero, an underpriced Grichuk, and an underpriced Hernandez, which I think we could start playing on repeat at this point. But outside of that, like I don't think I'm going to get more than 3 or 4% of these guys.
I agree, but I definitely want to have some of that righty power.
I'd be completely fine if I don't.
Right. Yeah, it's not something I'm seeking out, but I expect it to be there because of their value.
Right.
When Vlad Guerrero is 34 and Grichuk is 32, those are the two big ones for me. I just know that I'm going to have them in a couple lineups, a bunch of non-sale lineups, which will be, I don't know, not a huge piece, considering I'm going to have a lot of sale.
Right.
All right, to the Indians. Indians and Tigers, 4.9 run implied total for the Indians, 3.7 for the Tigers, 62% chance to win for Cleveland. Trevor Bauer going for the Indians, Matt Boyd going for the Tigers. So Red Sox obviously a much bigger favorite in their game, so I think that plays a little bit better to Sale on FanDuel, where the win and the quality start bonus are a little bit more likely. For Bauer, like him a lot more on the two pitcher sites. I like him more on DK, where the win is not as important, but the strikeouts are much more plentiful, I think, for Detroit than they are for Blue Jays. And there's no real power that's scary on the Tigers in comparison to the Jays. So you're kind of getting both sides of the coin for the Bauer-Sale conundrum. 44% ownership for Bauer on Yahoo, 18 on FanDuel, 31 on DK. What do you do with Trevor Bauer?
Yeah, I mean, he's my second highest projected pitcher right now behind Sale.
Yeah.
It's a great matchup against the Tigers, one of the lowest walk rates in baseball against right-handed pitching, which is a big deal because Bauer has walked 10% of hitters, which is a really number for someone at this price tag. So it helps to alleviate that. They strike out a lot. And then also, if you look at Bauer's numbers this year, while he is having a down year overall, he's another one that has pretty drastic splits between righties and lefties. 29.6% strikeout percentage against righties compared to 21.2 for lefties. He's allowed a 212 ISO to lefties, 142 to righties, 347 WOBA to lefties, 248 to righties. So he's still been excellent against right-handed hitters. He's really struggled against lefties. His changeup that he invented this offseason hasn't been very good. So that's something that I think is important to point out when you're talking about a Tigers lineup that has 6 righties in it, or probably will have 6 righties in it. It's just a really, really good spot for Bauer.
Agreed. This would be the perfect time for everybody to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, but drop a comment in after this video is over. You can't drop any comments in while the video is live, but who would you prefer today, Trevor Bauer or Chris Sale? If you had to pick one of the two, who were you going with? Drop your answer in the comment section. We'll check it out.
What's your answer?
I expect to have more Bauer than Chris Sale. But this is not like I get 70% Bauer and 10% Sale thing. Like it's probably like 50 to 40.
Right. But if you were only playing one, it would be Bauer.
It would probably be Bauer.
Yeah.
$900 is a lot on DK. 500 is a little tighter on FanDuel, but I think the matchup is better for Bauer on FanDuel than it is for Sale. Or no,
Yeah,
flip that. The prices are closer. So it's probably Sale for me on FanDuel, Bauer for me on DraftKings.
it's just like, yeah, $900 is a lot, but Sale is just so good. I mean, Sale has the highest strikeout percentage on the slate by 5 percentage points over Boyd. He's like 10 percentage points higher than Trevor Bauer. Granted, I did just point out the splits for Bauer and that he's at 29% against righties, but even then, he's like 6 points below Sale.
Sure. I'm just more nervous about the Blue Jays than I am about the Tigers.
Have you watched the Blue Jays this year?
What do you mean?
Like, or just seen the numbers that they put up?
I mean,
'Cause
yes.
they're freaking awful.
Agreed. I know that because I roster them a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Those are usually my biggest negative ROI days.
I hate days the Blue Jays play a bad pitcher.
You and me both, man. You and me both. Hell, I'm ready to roster them today against Chris Sale.
Right.
So it doesn't even matter who the damn pitcher is. You can bring Koufax. All right, let's talk about Boyd, actually. Do you want to target Boyd against the Indians? No real ownership going to Boyd.
I think he's interesting at least at the DraftKings price. Like, he's $1,400 less expensive than Trevor Bauer. Now, the Indians don't strike out a lot against left-handed pitching. They have one of the lowest strikeout percentages. So it's not like it's a super appealing matchup. They're 26th in strikeout percentage at 19.7%, league average production. So not an appealing matchup, but you're getting a $1,400 price discount. You're getting an ownership discount. And you're talking about the pitcher with the second highest strikeout percentage on the slate at 30.7%, the second lowest walk percentage at 4.7%, an xFIP that is a full run lower than Trevor Bauer. I think it's interesting. I don't know that I'll get there. I mean, it's too early for me to know that, but I think it's at least an interesting spot.
Yeah, only 5% ownership. He looks okay. It's just sort of like a no man's land because you've got, we'll talk about him eventually. You've got Herman Marquez right there at 9K. Strasburg just above Boyd. Walker Buehler a little bit above Boyd. And if you're not going, it makes for a tough pairing unless you're going Boyd Nola, which is certainly going to be unique. Getting away from Sale and Bauer is a little scary. I mean, obviously you're getting away from Bauer if you're going to Boyd, but what you're saying is, there's a number where Boyd is ahead of Sale. Like there's a percentage where Boyd outpaces Sale today. And figuring out sort of where you land there is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Boyd's an ace, and he is not priced like one here. I just think, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think that if it were a smaller slate, I would be more like pounding the table for Boyd. With it being a bigger slate, I know that I can differentiate in a million different ways. And so I care more about my projections and stuff. But, right now I have him as like the 5th highest scoring pitcher. He's just not expensive. I would like to get to Boyd. I don't know how much I'll actually get to.
Okay. If they were the same price, would you rather have Matt Boyd or Aaron Nola today?
Nola because of the matchup. It's a really tough slate with pitching to be contrarian because there are underpriced pitchers like Nola, but they're also in great spots.
Makes it tough.
Right. Like, as good as I think Boyd is, and I think he's underpriced for his talent level, he is facing a team that struck out less than 20% of the time against left-handed pitching, while Nola faces the Marlins and Bauer faces the Tigers and Sale faces the Blue Jays.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's really tricky. I don't expect to get to Boyd, but if you told me that he came out and had a 25 to 30 point fantasy day, it's not like it would catch me off guard. He's really good.
Right, exactly.
Do you anticipate getting to bats here? There's no real ownership going to anything in this game outside of Jose Ramirez.
Nope. Kristen Stewart, I think, is interesting. I mentioned the struggles that Bauer's had with left-handed hitters. Stewart has power. He's really inexpensive. But outside of that, I have no interest.
Yeah, I don't get the sense that I'll be stacking much up here. I don't really want to get, I won't be getting to the Tigers as any sort of hedge stack because I don't think they're very good. Lindor is probably my favorite bat in the game. Surprise, surprise. But I don't really see getting to the Indians as a big 5-man stack either. So this is mostly just Bauer for me.
Yeah. Speaking of, I went out on a limb at the beginning of the season and said that he'd be the best pitcher in baseball in a year or two, and he has really let me down.
Well, don't worry, buddy. We're going to get to talk about Sonny Gray, and those takes are going to be even better.
Yeah, I mean, that take's been correct.
Has it?
Yes.
We'll see.
Who has a higher strikeout percentage this year, Sonny Gray or Trevor Bauer?
I don't know if you should get credit for this since you were advocating for Bauer just 10 seconds ago as the best pitcher in baseball. Obviously the answer is Sonny Gray. Otherwise, this is a really weird prompt.
Yeah, okay. Sonny Gray or Aaron Nola?
I mean, again, Gray.
Sonny Gray or Chris Sale?
I mean, again, Gray?
No, it's Sale.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Interesting. You are... do you... Like, did anybody else buy any tickets to Sonny Gray's bandwagon? Or do you just drive that bus alone?
It's me. Siege is there, but I think I got him there.
Okay.
I think it's
ringing endorsement so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just because I was in his DMs just telling him how good Sonny Gray was. But
are you in Sonny Gray's DMs at this point?
Yeah, no, I mean, Sonny Gray is just me, I think.
All right. Well, we're going to be there in 2 games, so let's keep it moving. Rangers and White Sox, 6.2 run implied total for Texas, 5.3 for the White Sox, 57% chance to win for the Rangers. Ariel Jurado going for the Rangers, Ronaldo Lopez going for the White Sox. No ownership going to either one of these pitchers. Please don't tell me you want one of them.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, that is a dumpster fire of pitching right there. So this is going to be one of those Ronaldo Lopez 12K days.
Yeah, like Lopez has upside, but it doesn't really seem necessary on the slate in this park.
Obviously, the bats in this game are very, very popular. Rangers and White Sox, the 2 most owned teams in the aggregate across FanDuel and DK. Rangers are number 1 on both sites. White Sox number 2 on FanDuel. I believe number 3 on DK. So you're getting the most popular bats in the best hitting park in perfect weather against bad pitching. Do you see yourself getting away from any part of this game?
I mean, I'm less interested in the White Sox than I am the Rangers. Jurado isn't good, especially from a DFS standpoint, but it's not like he's a total gas can either. He's been actually pretty decent against lefties as far as getting outs. The White Sox obviously are still in a good spot. I really like Eloy Jimenez in particular. But if I got away from one side, it would be the White Sox. For Lopez, he has allowed a 392 WOBA to lefties, 221 ISO. He gives up plenty of power to righties as well, but a ton of left-handed power in this lineup. He is just in a really tough spot. So I'll be getting to a lot of Texas. They're also very, very affordable, whereas the White Sox are priced up. I actually can't believe how cheap Texas is on DraftKings. But so I prefer Texas.
So do I. I think they have a little bit higher upside. They're really affordable. They're really cheap on FanDuel, honestly. Rangers, Andrews is 3,800, Chu 3,700. Everybody else, Willie Calhoun is 3,400. Everybody else is in the 2s. You just can't get away from these guys. I agree. I prefer the Rangers to the White Sox, but I'm going to have a lot of ownership here. Like usual, I'll probably have more to the guys that aren't very owned and a similar amount to the public or slightly less than all of the guys that are picking up the most ownership. It's really hard to get away from a game with an 11.5 run implied total in Texas in the middle of June against Agreed. 2 garbage pitchers, or like garbage enough. So 1-0 pitching duel on cue. All right, favorite Rangers bat. We're gonna go to both teams here.
Chu overall, but when you factor in price, probably Cabrera or Mazzara.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Chu and then Mazzara for me. Favorite White Sox bat?
Jimenez.
I think it might be Moncada for me. 5K on DraftKings is pricey.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously think that's fine. I love Jimenez. I think he's starting to come around, and Jurado in a small sample this year, but 168 expected ISO, 135 actual ISO to lefties compared to 203 and 250 to righties.
Couple price points to point out. Yonder Alonso, $7 first baseman on Yahoo. Going to be pretty hard to ignore that. Odor at 2,800 on FanDuel seems pretty appealing. He's also at 27% ownership, so probably going to be a pretty popular second base option in cash. Any other prices look really out of whack?
I mean, Alonso's 34 on DraftKings too.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt. 2,600 on FanDuel. So yonder Alonso across the board.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Brewers hosting the Reds. 4.5 run implied total for the Brewers, 4 for the Reds. 55% chance to win for Milwaukee. Chase Anderson going for the Brewers. No ownership across the board. Sonny Gray going for the Reds. 5% on Yahoo, 3% on FanDuel, 4% on DraftKings, and 100% in Adam's heart. Talk to me about Sonny Gray.
So, I mean, it's a dangerous spot. Obviously, you're getting the Brewers in Milwaukee. Their active roster has the 6th highest strikeout percentage against right-handed pitching. But if you actually look at the bats that are likely to be in the lineup, it's not that high. It's just, that the active roster weighs in the platoon guys who won't be in the lineup. Yeah. But Sonny Gray is just really good. He has the 5th highest strikeout percentage on the slate. It's Sale, Boyd, Paxton, Strasburg, Gray, 26.7%. The walk percentage is a little higher than we'd like at 9.1%, but 3.46 xFIP is basically the same as Matt Boyd. It's better than Paxton. It's better than Nola. It's better than Bauer. It's about the same as Buehler. The strikeout percentage, like I said, higher than Nola, higher than Bauer, higher than Buehler. The thing that really stands out to me, though, is we know it's a dangerous spot because there's a ton of left-handed power here. Against left-handed hitters this season, Sonny Gray has allowed a .076 ISO, 114 expected ISO, a 221 WOBA, and he has struck out 32% of left-handed hitters. He has just dominated left-handed bats all season long. He's cheap. All of his numbers put him in the same category as a lot of the non-Chris Sale aces on this slate. But he's not priced like one, and he's not going to get ownership either.
No, he is not. I'm just trying to look through his FanGraphs pages.
He has
good.
Yeah, so he has a 3.39 PCRA this year, which I'm trying to get it. I'm looking now to see exactly where that ranks, but I know it's really good.
Yeah.
He's like everything you look at is good for him.
It is.
So his PCRA is sandwiched right between Lucas Giolito and Noah Syndergaard. So the
that is a hell of a trio for you right there. In many different ways.
Yeah. So I mean the pitchers around them though: David Price, Lucas Giolito, Sonny Gray, and then Noah Syndergaard, Clayton Kershaw, German Marquez, Zach Greinke. He's an ace pitcher, and he's not priced like it.
How much Sonny Gray do you anticipate having? And do you like how big is the gap between Nola and Gray?
I mean, so that's the issue, obviously, is Nola is facing Miami and Gray is facing the Brewers. So I think that I'll get to Gray more than the field just because I know I'll have him projected highly and because he's not going to have ownership. But like I'm still going to get to more Nola just because he's facing the Marlins.
Sonny Gray or James Paxton?
That's where I think it gets really interesting. Like I could definitely see, Paxton coming down a little bit to get me more Gray, but the issue is just that I also think Paxton's really good. So it's not like there's not a pitcher in Sonny Gray's price range that is popular where I'm like, I don't agree.
Right.
Like the most likely outcome, I would guess, and obviously I haven't made lineups yet, but I would guess is that maybe I get like less Bauer and just don't pay all the way up at pitcher and get more lineups that have like Nola plus Gray or Paxton plus Gray or something like that.
Yeah, that is a hell of a savings if you're grabbing, let's just say, any two of the three of Paxton, Nola, Gray, and you're paying $16K for pitching. That's not too shabby.
Right.
Do you have any interest in Chase Anderson at 6,600 on DraftKings?
Nope.
This is probably not the time where I should say that I would probably have more Chase Anderson than Sonny Gray, is it?
I mean, you can say whatever you want.
What do you say to that?
You're just flat out wrong.
That's fair. That's fair. I do really like Reds bats. They are not chalky. No one. They're basically unowned on DK. Derek Dietrich at 2,800 and Jesse Winker at 2,700 on FanDuel, getting a little bit of popularity into the double digits. But I have the Reds as my number 5 stack overall, and they are number 1 or number 2 relative to salary. Am I absolutely insane to be rostering a bunch of Reds today as the value stack?
No. Anderson's strikeout numbers are actually better than I realized this year, but he's still giving up a bunch of power to righties in particular. So I think Suarez is really appealing. I think Puig is really appealing. Senzel's a decent play. He's just expensive. The problem is that this park really, like, it's a good hitter's park overall, but it really plays up left-handed power, and Anderson has always been good against lefties.
Yeah. I expect the Reds to be one of my 3 or 4 most owned teams, probably my most owned team above the field. We have the Reds right now at 12th overall in aggregate exposure, but on DraftKings in particular, they are 20th.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Not their low ownership, you being overweight.
Do you mean that in a positive way or a negative way?
It makes sense to me. I mean it in a positive way. Like, I would like to be there as well.
Okay. Well, you could have been like, oh, that makes sense because you suck and the Reds suck. So just making sure it was a positive thing. So I wanted to get your take on why it wasn't.
To be fair, I've also had ex-girlfriends point out that makes sense is my go-to. Like, I don't feel like having this conversation. I think you're wrong, and I'm gonna just move on.
Yeah, I've talked to you on these shows a couple times. You know, the outcome was up in the air there for whether you were just telling me I was an idiot or not. Could have went either direction. I really like them. The left, I know we talked about Anderson being really solid against lefties. It's still not going to be stopping me from getting 2% Winker in the leadoff spot or 4% Joey Votto, especially in a park with this left-handed power split.
Yeah, it's still cheap lefties in Milwaukee.
Speaking of lefties in Milwaukee, do you think that you're going to be getting any against your boy?
Nope.
Really?
Don't plan on it.
They're in the middle of the pack for me, so I don't get the sense that they're going to be a team that I'm stacking, but seeing, and I assume we're on the same page here, you'll probably see some, Yelich one-offs, some Mike Moustakas one-offs just popping up because of Fantasy Cruncher working like that. Or do you think do you think you'll be like a flat 0 against the Brewers?
I barely got to the Brewers yesterday against Roark, even though I actively wanted to get to the Brewers, which ended up working out great. I got a bunch of Roark and not much Brewers, even though I wanted the exact opposite. But just like I wasn't really getting to them with their prices against Roark. I'm not going to get to them against Gray.
Trust the process there, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. I figure that I'll have a little bit of the Brewers, but nothing too crazy. They're middle of the pack for me. But if I'm ever going to get any lefty power bats, getting them in Milwaukee is fine by me, no matter who is on the mound for Cincinnati.
Sure.
Alrighty. Cardinals and Royals. Nope, Cardinals and Angels. Royals' name just happened to be next to the Cardinals. 4.4 run implied total for the Cards, 4.6 for the Angels, 51% chance to win for LA. Michael Wacha going for St. Louis, Griffin Canning going for the Angels. Neither guy getting any ownership. I'm happy that we're not playing the 40% owned Michael Wacha cheap pitcher dance today. Do you think that you're getting to Canning or Wacha at all?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's obviously just a really tough spot for Wacha, who is not a good pitcher anyway. But the side I'd have interest in is Canning on like a different slate.
Yeah.
But it's really tough for me to pay more money for Canning when you have 3 really good pitchers below him with Nola, Paxton, and Gray. It's not a bad spot. It's a middle of the road strikeout matchup. The Cardinals have been below average against right-handed pitching this year. Canning has good stuff. He's still a rookie. He still gives up some power, but pretty good strikeout numbers. It's just that I don't really see getting there on this particular slate.
Full stop, 0 Wacha.
I never want to say that about a 5K pitcher until I've crunched, because I've had 20% Ryan Carpenter at one point this season. I don't think I'll get Wacha because, one, you don't really need to go to that price range because of the mid range, and 2, I have Joe Musgrove and Eric Lauer.
Yep, feel the same way. Ownership from a hitting perspective, Cardinals and Angels, nothing really crazy. Angels are coming in 6th in the aggregate. Cardinals a bit lower at 13. I see the Angels as a much better option than the Cardinals. That should not be terribly surprising. Thank you to Mike Trout for that one. I figure I'll have some shares at the top of the Angels lineup, but neither team is a team I anticipate stacking.
I like the Angels. I think Waka is just bad. He's allowed almost a 300 ISO to righties this year. You have Trout, Pujols, Upton, all with Upton and Pujols with reasonable price tags. Trout with the price tag he deserves.
Yeah.
And then you can mix in whoever else you want beyond that group. Otani hopefully will be in the lineup as well. He's not.
I don't have him in my.
He's not in the projected lineup. Oh, there's no DH. So yeah, that's a problem. That does take appeal away from the Angels, but still.
Yeah, if Otani is in this lineup, I have a different outlook on.
Yeah, I mean he won't be, but yeah.
Right. I just mean like if this were on the screen right now, I would have had a different outlook in everything that I had already said.
Right. If this game were in LA, this would be a much more appealing Angels stack.
Absolutely. Yeah, ultimately I don't think that I get to too much here. I'll clearly have some Trout.
Yeah.
$4,100 Upton.
I think I get there. I would just have a lot more if Otani was going to play.
Same. To the Royals we go. Royals 4.5 run implied total, Twins 5.5. 59% chance to win from Minnesota. Jacob Junis going for the Royals, Martin Perez going for the Twins. Neither guy getting any ownership, but I feel like I say this every week, and it's never a positive statement when the slate ends. I'll probably have more than 2% Jacob Junis on DraftKings against the Twins. I won't be happy about it, but...
Probably won't.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Twins here. Junis used to be, like last year, he was the guy that got decent strikeouts and gave up home runs. This year, he's kind of just the guy that gives up home runs.
Yeah.
The Twins obviously have a ton of power, and they don't strike out a lot. So,
I think they do.
The Twins?
I mean, based on the lineup that they have in right now, I would expect them to. But let me pull it up just to see where we're at for active. Sano, Cave, Castro, all big-time strikeout guys. It's the Kepler, Polanco, Rosario section that makes it a little wonky. Forgot Jonathan Scope was there, too.
Yeah, their active roster against right-handed pitching this year has a 19.6% strikeout percentage.
Really?
124 WRC plus.
Do you have that broken down by like who's doing it? I think I can get there probably.
I can pull that up in a second.
Might beat you to it.
And like Cave being in the lineup isn't a boost for strikeouts because it's replacing Buxton.
All right, versus righties, active roster, advanced. Yeah, Rosario 12%, Polanco 14%, Kepler 16%.
So Cruz is at 30 this year, but he was hurt for a while. And if you go back to the start of last year, he's only 23.5.
Yeah, I mean, I have him in at 24, so that
right.
Either way.
Yeah,
Sano at 36 so far this season is terrifying.
He's at 38 since the start of last year. So like there are guys that strike out. Sano, Castro, Cave. Average strikeout rates for Crone and Cruz and Garver, but it just gets pulled down so much by like Polanco, Rosario, Kepler. Astudillo, if he's in the lineup, doesn't strike out ever.
No, that would really dramatically change my outlook here. I'm
sure that also he has to be a pretty significant factor in why their overall active roster strikeout percentage is so low. Like you have a guy on there that strikes out 2% of the time.
3.2% and 93 plate appearances this season against righties.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's what, 2?
Probably, yeah. I mean, so he has 162 plate appearances against righties since last year. He has a 1.9% walk percentage and a 1.9% strikeout percentage.
3 strikeouts.
Wow.
He's 2 hit by pitch, so he can almost get on more than he's K'd. What do you want to do then with Twins bats?
Roster them.
Yeah, number 2 overall stack for me on FanDuel and DK. Top 5 relative to salary as well. They're going to be a team I get quite a bit of. Ooh. Do you think you'll end up with any Humberto Arteaga of the Royals? Projecting with the old 62 weighted runs created plus via Steamer.
He doesn't have a price tag, so that's the only thing keeping me away.
$7 on Yahoo, so if you want to get him there, feel free to shoot your way over there to Yahoo. Use the link that I had posted from Emacs article. Use the promo code Osmo. Get yourself $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Are you going to Martin Perez?
No.
Okay, same.
I'm not really interested in the Royals either for the most part, but just doesn't feel. Martin Perez doesn't feel like he should be in the same price range as Paxton, Gray, and Nola.
Agreed. Favorite bats from the Twins today?
Cruz, Rosario.
Yeah. Give me Kepler leading off.
Yeah, I mean, I like him
5K.
too. I like all of them. But
Yeah, so do I. Cruz, 3% ownership on DraftKings. I'll probably have a little bit more than that.
I hope I do.
Yeah, that's the plan at least. Diamondbacks and Giants. 5.3 run implied total for the D-backs, 4.7 for the Giants, 55% chance to win for Arizona. Taylor Clark going for the Diamondbacks, Jeff Samardzija going for the Giants. I assume that you and I are not rostering these pitchers?
No, they're. I mean, it's kind of a weird spot because both pitchers suck and both off. Well, the Giants also aren't good.
No, they're not. I don't think the Diamondbacks are very good either.
No, I just didn't want to put them in the same category as Taylor Clark or the Giants.
So I don't get the sense that I'll have any real exposure to this game. However, the Giants are very chalky. They are the third most owned team on FanDuel and DK combined. They are actually my fourth value stack on FanDuel because everybody is just stupid cheap.
Yeah, it's just they're still unnecessary on the slate. It would make sense to me if like Nola was 10K and Gray was 10K and Paxton was 10K and you had Sale and Power also. But you can get actual good offenses with hitters that deserve to be in the major leagues and still roster the pitching you want.
Yeah. So Brandon Belt, 29% on FanDuel right now.
I mean, that's fine. Like
that's a great shot, or that's a great cash play.
Yeah. Like Belt's a really good hitter, but once you get past him, like none of these guys are good hitters.
16% Joe Panic, 17% Brandon Crawford, 11% to Evan Longoria, 18% to Posey on DK. These guys are pretty chalky, but I fully expect to be under this number.
Yeah, same here. Like to me, the most likely outcome here is that the Giants score like 5 or 6 runs, but it's not like they're just blasting home runs. Like they're just getting hits because Taylor Clark's not good.
Yeah, this is a sequencing game, not a power game.
Right. On the other side, I'm interested.
I'm not.
Really?
Yeah.
You're getting Samardzija outside of San Francisco, and there is power in this lineup. Like Christian Walker's got a ton of power. Peralta's cheap. Escobar is expensive but good. Then Marte's expensive, and it's probably more of a mini stack than a full stack for me. But I do like Peralta, Walker in particular.
16% expected ownership going to Peralta right now on DraftKings. 5% to Adam Jones. Everybody else at 1%. Jared Dyson at 16% on FanDuel. Diamondbacks are pretty much going ignored. They are 8th in aggregate ownership, but that's mostly FanDuel, and that's mostly Jared Dyson and David Peralta carrying that flag for the ownership. Look, obviously stacking against Jeff Samardzija makes me feel better, but I just think the Diamondbacks suck.
I don't think they suck. I mean, they at the least they have some power. The roof is also open tonight, which is nice.
It might be on fire with the Arizona temperatures.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100. It's like 100 degrees.
So I have the Diamondbacks 23rd overall on FanDuel, 22nd on DK, and in the 20s also relative to salary. It's just tough with the outfield start. I mean, obviously you can put Marte in at second, but then you're paying $5,500 for a second baseman, and I'm not super stoked about that, even though that I'm probably his biggest advocate in this damn industry.
Yeah. Kettle Marte is your Sonny Gray.
Well, at least my guy's good.
Okay. We just went through every stat that says Sonny Gray is really good.
Yeah, I guess we did.
Back to that game.
Well, I mean, what else was I gonna say there? I need to say something stupid to make myself sound better. It doesn't work like that. I can't just give in already. Where's the fun in that?
I hadn't looked in a while, but Sonny Gray's called strike plus swinging strike percentage is almost the exact same as Trevor Bauer and Marquez.
So when I get to the Rockies and talk about how I'm probably going to have Marquez against the Dodgers, that'll be a fun conversation. Get out of this one. We've got 3 to go here. I actually think I'm going to have to update this one. A's and Rays. Do we have a line here yet?
Yes.
Okay, so that is it. Do you have Beeks for the Rays?
Well, Kittredge as the opener, I guess.
Sure. But Beeks after?
Hang on. I'm not seeing anyone.
Fangraph said Beeks. That's the only reason I'm saying Beeks.
Okay, then sure.
Perfect. 1-0.
I clearly really care about rostering Beeks.
Yeah, I don't want Beeks either, but that's neither here nor there. All right, hopping back to it now. Just wanted to update the line a little bit, and we still don't have a Baltimore line. 4.4 implied total for the A's, 4.5 for the Rays, 51% chance to win for Tampa. Tanner Anderson going for Oakland. Potentially Jalen Beeks going for the Rays. I don't want any pitching here.
Nope, me neither. Not a lot of strikeouts for Oakland. Tanner Anderson was fun when he was 4K, and I had a bunch of him, but now he's 6,700, and that's a no for me. Extreme ground ball guy, but not a lot of strikeouts.
$26 on Yahoo. I still don't really have an interest in him, but that's better.
Yeah, I mean it's where he should be, but it's just not really the slate for it. On Yahoo, I guess it is worth pointing out though that like Musgrove isn't free. So like Musgrove's 34, Lauer's 30.
Yeah.
So I'm scrolling through now, but I don't think there's like a really good cheap pitcher.
I mean, Junis at 29, but we obviously have different thought processes there.
Yeah.
Let's get that soundbite for when Brett messages us. Yeah.
And so I don't think it's necessary, but if you had to get to a really cheap pitcher, $26 is $26.
Agreed. I don't expect to have any part of this game, hitting or pitching. It's not a great park. I do like both teams, but if I'm getting to Chris Davis as a one-off or Matt Olson as a one-off, that's fine. But I don't see this as a game that I want to stack.
Yeah, it's a pretty unappealing game all around for me.
Favorite bat, Chris Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm interested in here. The pricing's great. Like Chris Davis, 4,100, Matt Chapman, 4,200. That's fine for me. It's just Oakland is a place where home runs go to die.
Right.
All right, time to talk about my boy. Dodgers and Rockies, 4.2 run implied total for the Dodgers, 3.1 for the Rockies, 63% chance to win for LA. Walker Buehler going for the Dodgers. Erman Marquez going for Colorado. Buehler, 19% ownership on Yahoo, 4 on FanDuel, 10 on DK. Let's just start there. Do you anticipate getting to Walker Buehler against the Rockies?
Probably not. I have him as like my 4th highest projected pitcher right now, but there's just a gap between him and Sale Bauer up in that upper price tier, and then you get the mid-range arms that I really like. So I think it's a perfectly fine spot for him. I think he's good, but not great as a pitcher right now. I think he'll be great in the future, but if he were cheaper, I'd be really interested. But as is, I just think he's at an awkward price point.
Yeah, I agree. Different slate, and you drop Sale and Bauer, and I might be having a conversation saying that I think he's the best pitcher on the slate. Like not necessarily relative to salary, but I like the spot. As of right now, I like Bauer and Sale significantly more. I can flip a coin on Strasburg. There's a decent chance I like Marquez more than Buehler just in this game, although certainly significantly more scary to face the Dodgers than it is to face the Rockies, especially outside of Coors. Marquez, 11% owned on Yahoo, 8 on FanDuel, 8 on DraftKings. I anticipate having more than that on FanDuel in particular, $7,600. He is the 12th most expensive pitcher, and he's only at 8% ownership. That's a spot where I'd rather take the shot, even though I'm very scared to face the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, if he's where he's that cheap, I think it makes some sense. I don't really have interest on DraftKings. I expect that you'll get more lefties than righties in this lineup, which is an issue for Marquez. The strikeouts really go down against lefties. Also, it's the Dodgers, and they're really good. You have pitchers that are just as good or better than Marquez that are cheap and in better spots. So I don't see getting a lot of him.
Yeah, I don't get the sense that I'll have a bunch on DK, mostly because of Nola's existence at 8K. But on FanDuel, where Marquez is priced in the middle of the pack, that's a spot where I'm willing to take the chance on very low ownership because he does have the sort of stuff that can be problematic.
I'd still take Sonny Gray at 7,300 over Marquez at 76.
Yeah, it's Marquez for me. This is going to be fantastic when I say it out loud. I have Marquez at 33.4 FanDuel points. Do you have a guess where I have Sonny Gray?
12.
Okay, that's a bit extreme, but it's close. 24.4. So 9 full points. So I feel like someone's going to get a DM sort of like the Wade LeBlanc one from yesterday where it's like, yo, Josh has Sonny Gray 9 points below Herman Marquez. Oh, God. It does give me pause. But yeah, for me, Marquez is FanDuel.
I have them projected really similarly in my early stuff, but slight edge to Gray because he's a little bit higher and the price tag's a little bit lower.
And you check that box next to his name that immediately gives him 40% more than whatever it was supposed to be. There's no way that I'm rostering any hitting with any sort of aggression here. I think both pitchers are good. It's not a really great park for offense outside of lefty power, which obviously plays into the Dodgers, but they're not getting any ownership, and I don't really think that anybody should.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Jock looks good at 3,200 on FanDuel or 4,100 on DK. If you get to one-offs, sure. Wow, Rockies, 6 lefties in the Rockies projected lineup. That's a lot of lefties. I just don't expect to have this game outside of a little bit of Marquez on FanDuel.
Sounds good.
Closing it out. Mariners and Orioles. This game does not have a line because I don't think that we have an official starter as of yet. I've seen some people talking about John Means. Right now I have Sean Gilmartin per Fangraphs. Let's just start here. Who do you think is starting for the Baltimore Orioles today?
I have Means.
Okay. Time to look into this. John Means on the injured list.
All right, so probably not him.
Dan Straley designated for assignment. However, because O's fans can't have nice things for long in 2019, bad news follows. John Means has been placed on the injured list retroactive to June 17th. Left shoulder strain.
So we have an Orioles bullpen game.
Yes. Hence, potentially Sean Gilmartin as the long man. Shout out to the Atlanta Braves. Trying to read through a little bit more.
Shout out to the DraftKings analysis sheet on Sean Gilmartin that says he might not go long enough to qualify for the win, even following an opener. Like, you have to go a certain amount.
You have to record an out.
Right.
One single out. Anybody can get the win after that. It's the dumbest rule in baseball, but yeah. Sean Gilmartin getting a win significantly easier than if he would have started the game, which would have made it impossible. Him not starting is the only way he'll get a win.
Right, exactly.
Here's a great line. This is from Camden Chat, so the SB Nation Orioles blog.
Yep.
The Means injury opens a hole right back up, and as has been thoroughly demonstrated, there's no one at AAA waiting to seize the chance. This season sucks. It can't be said enough. You write this shit?
Brandon Hyde, the Orioles manager, like his press conferences have just gotten so he's very straightforward. And so after the game where they gave up 16 to Oakland, they interviewed him, and he's just like, yeah, I can't wait until the day that we have a wave of arms that are ready to come up and can get guys out.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. So whether it's Sean Gilmartin, okay, here's the real question. Let's say it is Gilmartin. He's 4K. Any shot?
No, it's just I don't need it on this slate.
Okay. I agree. Just had to throw that out there. I made up a line for this game, but honestly, it doesn't matter right now. We have no idea what it's going to be. Do you have any interest in Mike Leake? He's getting 11% ownership on Yahoo, but basically unowned on the other sides.
No, I mean it's a good matchup, especially with Mancini injured now too, like the only good hitter on the Orioles. But on DraftKings, Leake is priced like more expensive than guys like Paxton. On Yahoo at 38, he's still more expensive than I would like. Like, he's only $2 less than Marquez. He's more expensive than Sonny Gray. I'm just not going to get the League.
All 9 guys in the projected Orioles lineup have a weighted runs created plus below 100 in Steamer.
Yep.
Boy. Do you have interest in the Mariners bats here against the Orioles bullpen game? I can't even say it without laughing.
Kinda. I mean, bullpen game's never that appealing, but when it's the Orioles, it's a bit more appealing.
Yeah.
On Yahoo, you have some really good price tags on the Mariners, but
Yeah.
overall, it's not like it's a really good offense anymore since they don't have Encarnacion and they don't have Bruce.
Yeah, very different team now. $9 Kyle Seager, $9 or $7 Mac Williamson, $9 JP Crawford. Those are spots you can get to on Yahoo. No ownership going to the Mariners on FanDuel or DK.
You also don't have Haniger, which makes it worse.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of interest here. Gonna be a tough sell for me. I don't even want to say this out loud. Do you have any interest in the Orioles bats?
Not really. They're really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some appealing price tags, like Rio Ruiz on DraftKings is $2,500. It's pretty unusual to get a guy that cheap. But with
he's
pitching
not even getting owned.
Well, and with pitching being as cheap as it is, you don't really need it. So,
Sure.
14-game slate and plenty of value everywhere. I don't really see the need to get to the Orioles.
What about $2,200 Chris Davis?
Same thing.
I'm going to end up with some Orioles, I think, and it's so dumb.
You're going to end up with what?
Some Orioles.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. Your $2,200 Chris Davis. Like, I think you can put together an Orioles stack and go to, like, Bauer and Sale.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is so dumb. I mean, like...
I just don't know that you, like, need to, though.
I'm gonna pull up Fantasy Cruncher right now and run a crunch locking Bauer and Sale and seeing what 5-man stacks come up. Can you do it with something better than the Orioles? Is really where I'm curious. Let's find out. Do you think you can?
Probably not. If you go with those two, you get an average of like $3,360. So
Okay.
They'd have to be real cheap.
All right, let's do this. Let's game filter. Let's add everybody in. Crank up the old.
Like even after you put in Ruiz and Davis, you still only get $3,700.
Okay. I'll take any 5-man stack you want to give me. Fantasy Cruncher. Let's separate out everybody that's already in there and go to pitchers and lock in these two goons. Sale, Bauer. Let's see what we got. Nope, didn't change the exposures. Willing to take anybody they give me. This should be fun. Oh yeah, so I just went straight to the team stacks tab. 18. Well, it's 70% Baltimore, 30% Giants.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Giants.
Still haven't gotten another two. We're up to 60 lineups. Those are still the only two 5-man stacks that are coming in.
Yeah.
70-30 Orioles Giants. What's the highest projected one? Cisco, Chris Davis, Joe Panic, Rio Ruiz, VR, Bryce Harper, Delino DeShields, Anthony Santander.
Sounds like a tournament winner right there.
That's projected for 112.83. So just out of curiosity, what is the highest projected lineup? If I strip out Sale Nola.
You mean Sale Bauer?
Yes, Sale Bauer. Sorry. Just letting it crunch out a couple more lineups here. I don't have the randomness all that high. If I just do it with only a 5-man setting, 116.29. So that's actually not that far off of the optimal lineup. 116 to 112. Just, using my numbers right now. That's not that I would have expected it to be significantly further down.
Yeah, but I think the range of outcomes is way lower.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, what you're doing is you're betting on the two aces to have ace-ish performances and hoping that, one of the 5 worst teams in baseball have a fun hitting day.
Right.
I'm not going to take my chances there, but if you want to try it, you can do it. That's all really that matters. 14 up, 14 down. Hour and 24 minutes, man. We're getting good at this.
Yeah, not bad.
Took a look at lineup study. Took a look at what it looks like to have Chris Sale and Trevor Bauer in the same lineup today. So if you're a big-time fan of the Orioles and Giants, you're in luck. You can stack up the 2 best pitchers on the slate along with those guys. 5-man Giants stack? RIP. Yeah, probably. Coming up the rest of the day, no Awesome Odds betting show today. Not a lot going on in sports, so it's kind of a lull. So those guys are going to take the day off. Yahoo specific strategy show coming up at 1 p.m. Myself, Alex Baker, Awesemo himself, and Jake Hari. We're going to do some builds in Yahoo. Deeper Dive coming up at 4:45. Adam and Laffy going through all of these games again. And then myself and Jake Hari live before lock from 6 to 7:05. So come join us. I'm going to drop the link in once again to Emacs Yahoo article. This is Yahoo specific, but if you're looking to sign up at Yahoo, they are our presenting sponsor on this show. There's a link inside Emacs article that will get you there, and you can use the promo code AWESEMO and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Adam, any final thoughts here?
Nope.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Hit the like button on your way out the door. Subscribe, and don't forget to drop that comment after this video ends. Who would you prefer today, Chris Sale or Trevor Bauer? Best of luck today. We'll talk to you later, and have a good weekend.